Attention all activity providers, let me introduce you to the official sponsor of the Start, Grow, Scale podcast. Meet Pebble, the award-winning platform that will help you manage your admin and streamline your day-to-day business, freeing up your time to focus on what you love, running your fantastic activities for children. Why choose Pebble? It's simple. Fast setup, intuitive platform, and hands-on customer success team ready to spend less time on admin and more time on creating incredible classes. Visit bookpebble.co.uk and join a community of over 1,000 activity providers today. Quote the code CHRISSY24 when joining to get your first month on the platform for free. A children's activity expert here in the UK, working with providers across the globe to help them start, grow and scale their children's activity business by unlocking their potential to maximize their income so they get to do what they love. Hello everyone, how are we doing? I am so excited to be back recording the Start, Grow, Scale Your Children's Activity podcast. And in today's session, I'm going to be talking about how to get started with building your personal brand to increase your visibility. But before we dive into that, I just wanted to tell you what's been happening over the last month and why we had a tiny little break. Now, if you follow me on the podcast or on my socials, you will have seen that we hosted the Market Like a Popstar 5-day challenge recently. And what an amazing week we had. Over 1,000 providers. That's right, folks. 1,000 providers signed up to the challenge. They were from the UK, from Australia, from the USA, and we had all sorts of businesses in there. We had independents, we had franchisees, franchisors, product-based businesses, and it was just an incredible week of learning. The work that everyone did was absolutely amazing. They showed up every day. They did the tasks. They did the lives. And I couldn't be more pleased with the results that we got. Loads of people left that challenge feeling, as always, energized, motivated, and ready to take action. But when we opened the doors to the Market Like a Popstar program and so many providers signed up, that I just could not believe it. I was just so happy that all these providers had made the right decision to invest in themselves and their learning in 2024. I can't wait to start working with them this week because I know by the summer they're just going to be in such a great position with their business and they're going to be able to build on top of all the things I'm going to be teaching them over the 6-week period. And then it gets even better. At the weekend, I attended the Club Hub Awards. So this is a national event hosted by Club Hub UK. And so many club members were there. So we had 9 finalists from the Children's Activity Business Club in the finals. And if you add me on top of that, that was 10 of us. But there were so many other providers there from the club who had come along to support everyone. So we had a whole line of Chrissy's crew were there celebrating success. And out of those 9 people that made it through to the finals, 3 of them went on to win their categories, which are honestly, it just brought me to tears. Like, one of the individuals won Solo Star of the Year, lovely Fatima, if you've listened to another podcast with me where I hosted that session, who would have never considered applying for awards. And she was so emotional on the stage that she had us all in tears. And that's the impact that awards can have on you. And then we had the lovely duo, Emma and Lorna from Story Rangers, that won Independent Business of the Year. So happy for them. We're working together right now and we've got big plans for the business coming up this year. And then Rachel Peebles went on to win Franchisee of the Year. And so that was amazing. And then guess what, folks? Yes, me, Chrissy Monaghan, picked up Supplier of the Year which just made me so proud because it's for the 2 years of work that I've done within the sector to be recognised for all of that work. I could not have been more happy, and I dedicated it to all my clients and customers and all the people that I've worked with for the last 2 years because that win was for them. So it was just epic to be part of that, and it just shows the impact that we're having here in the Children's Activity Business Club. We are making a difference to children's activity providers to help them start, grow, and scale. And guess what? They're unlocking their potential and maximizing their income, so they are making more money. And if you would love to find out more about the Children's Activity Business Club, I will put some links in the show notes. But come and join us because it's the place to be. It's the one-stop shop for starting, growing, and scaling your business. But in today's episode, I'm going to talk you through how you could get started with building your personal brand. And this is going to increase your visibility. So one of the things I want to get really clear on from the beginning, it doesn't mean that you don't focus on your business still. This is going to enhance your business, okay? So you will have your business brand and you'll have your, your branding and your logos and your feelings and your experience and everything that you want to give in terms of the business. But by developing a personal brand, it's going to help you get more visible and you're going to be able to champion that brand, okay? Champion it. And it's so important right now in 2024 because it's noisy out there. There's a lot in the timelines. There's a lot that just goes on in digitally. And if you really want to stand out from the crowd, do the things that other providers are not willing to do. And I would say building a personal brand is one of them. And some of the reasons that stops people building a personal brand is imposter syndrome because they don't feel like they're good enough or they don't know what to talk about or they just don't know where to get started. And that's what I'm going to help you with today. But building that brand, that personal brand, is going to help you stand out from the crowd. And you know how much I go on about standing out from the crowd and being different. And I recognize that quite early on in my journey that I needed to build a personal brand. And then the other point is it helps you build trust. Like it helps you build up the know, like, trust factor really fast with your audience. So not only are they going to trust your business, they're going to start trusting you as the individual. And the number 3 reason why you should be doing it is credibility. People want to know that you're the expert in the field. They want to know that you know your stuff and that they're trusting you, okay? So that's another reason. Number 4, there's just so many opportunities out there. So when you start promoting you as the person, as the brand, and as the business, opportunities come knocking. And number 5 is the strength. It's just going to give you strength in the industry, strength in that niche, that people will see you as the go-to provider in the areas. So that's why it's so important in 2024. And if you think about it, if you remember back in the day, maybe 12 years ago when I started in the sector, we used to just post things on a notice board. That's all we had to do for our business. We had a Facebook page and we had a notice board. I used to go round every 3 weeks checking my flyers were still on the notice board that hadn't been taken down by a competitor or someone else. And I would just post on my Facebook page. And that was when, you used to get a massive reach and you'd have some friend referrals. But that was it. That's all you had. Oh, you might have listed in a magazine and that is all you had. But over the last 12 years, it's just changed so much that, there's so many digital platforms to be on these days. You've got LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, the list goes on. You've got email marketing. It's got more complicated. And now you're layering on personal branding because you look at all the top celebrities or people that are just up and coming, like from Love Island and all of those places. They're trying to get famous fast and they're doing it by building their personal brand. And so this is why I think people should be investing in their personal brand this year. Now, to get started, I'm going to give you 3 tips to help you get started. The first one is you really need to know who you are. So to do this, you can pause this podcast halfway through, now, in a minute after I tell you what to do. But I want you to get a piece of paper out and I want you to draw a stick person on it. And then I want you to just write down every single thing about you. What have you done? What do you stand for? And what have you achieved? Now, you could be a mum, you could be a dad, You could be a parent. You may have like 5 children, 2 children. You may have written a book. You may have climbed a mountain. You may have run a marathon. Like all of these things are who you are. Who are you? And that's the first thing to do, because you're going to use this information and this knowledge when you start creating content and when you start putting your message out there. So you can do that right now. And then tip 2 is storytelling. Because obviously we know that facts tell, but stories sell. And so what I want you to do on your next piece of paper is create 3 columns. And you're going to have personal stories, client stories, and business stories. So personal stories could be, for example, when I took my audience on a journey of me running and training for a marathon. So that's a personal story. And then you can have client stories, which is like the impact that you are having, the testimonials, the reviews, the feedback that you get from, your customers, and that they're telling you what difference you've made and how you've impacted their child or their family's life. So that's your client stories. And then you've got your business stories, which could be like, you've award winning or you've raised this amount of money for charity. So get 3 columns on the go and have a go at seeing if you can come up with at least 5 stories for each category, because you're going to be able to use these on a regular basis. And you'll find, like, I usually keep all my stories on my mobile phone in my notes, so I can always reference something. So this means you can always talk about something. You are never going to run out of things to talk about, because you're going to be able to pull a story out and say, do you remember, like, I've done this, I've done that, and we've done this, okay? So that's point number 2. Tip number 3 is creating yourself like a signature talk. This is a talk that you could use this framework time and time again. But if you get one talk that's really, really good, then you could be replicating this in many, many, many different places. So here's the framework to think about when you're creating your signature talk. First of all, what problem do you solve? So what problem are you solving, and who do you serve? So I talk about your ideal customer all the time and the problems they have and how you solve them. Okay, so that's the first things you need to be really clear on. Second point is an opening story. So just like I did earlier, I told you a story about how marketing used to be easy. And that was so that people would relate to the story. Oh yeah, I remember that. Okay, so that's why we have that opening story, is to get people nodding along with us. So make sure your story is relatable. And then think, what 3 things could you teach or talk about? So could you help a parent who's struggling to get their baby to sleep at night with 3 tips that they could use to help baby sleep? Or is there 3 tips that you could use to help a child learn how to, do a football skill? Those are things that you could totally do. And then the next point is you're going to want some sort of call to action, because you always want to tell your audience what you want them to do. So if you want them to book a trial or come and speak to you or DM you or WhatsApp you, you've got to get them raising their hands. And then you finish with a closing story. And that story can either be something about you again or links in with motivation. And the reason we do it that way is because when you are building your personal brand and you're telling your stories or you're doing your talk, you'll have people that are logical thinkers, and then you'll have people that are emotional thinkers. That way you hit both of them, okay? So always think about how you're going to close your signature talk. And then you've got to think, right, where am I going to go and put it? Okay, where am I going to go and put my story? So you need to perform and get your message out there in a big way. And there are so many places you could get started. You've got digital stages, you've got social media lives, you've got challenges like I've just hosted, webinars. You could go on people's podcasts. You can go live in people's Facebook groups, memberships, masterminds, YouTube. The list goes on. There are so many digital stages that you could get on. And then you've got physical stages like events or other people's stages or networking or conferences. So I want you to have a think about how many places could you do this in. Like make a list and think, right, next week I'm going to get started with this I'm going to go and talk about it live on my socials. That could just be your starting point. So if you're thinking, where do I get started with all this, Chrissy? You've given me 3 tips to get started, but I want more. Well, you could come and work with me right now, and I could teach you my visibility strategy that's tried and tested, and I can show you how to create your own bespoke marketing plan that's going to attract your ideal customer, so I can help you with that. And then I can also teach you my sales strategies so that you will bring in the money to increase the sales, because that's what will happen. When you start building a personal brand and you get more visible and you market it correctly, then the money's going to come. And I'm going to show you how to increase the sales in your business. So the power of building a personal brand is pretty epic. So if you can sit down and think, okay, what does my business financially turn over each year and where do I want it to be in 5 years' time? If you can leverage your personal brand, if you can make you the expert in the field, I can pretty much guarantee that you're going to see an increase in your sales, in your revenue. And that is the power. And like I said earlier on, there's going to be loads more opportunities that come knocking on your door because you will be the go-to expert within your niche, within your area, and they're going to come and want to speak to you. So I hope you found today's session useful. You've got 3 tips there that you could get started with and some homework to get going with. If you would love to find out more about how you can come and work with me, please come and get in touch. I will put some details in the show notes about the Children's Activity Business Club, which is where all the magic happens. I would love to see you there. And that's where we're going to be doing all our work on helping business owners start, grow, and scale. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I shall see you all very soon. Bye for now.